What's up, guys? It's your girl Chelsea, the wannabe Hecate. Today we are going to be talking about Jupiter. Now, Jupiter can kind of get lost in the mix since the inner planets are, your more personal planets, the outer planets are more social planets. Jupiter has personal traits that are important and unique to you, but it also stays in the same sign for so long that it's considered a generational planet. So you'll tend to have Jupiter in the same sign as other people your age since it stays in whatever sign it's in for so long. So for 12 years now, Jupiter has been in Capricorn, and coming this December, it's going to go into Aquarius, which is a really big deal since it takes so long for it to get into different signs, like I said. So what we're going to be discussing today is what house Jupiter has been transiting in all year for you based on what your rising sign is. Wherever Jupiter transits, it brings you a lot of confidence and joy. You want to expand in that area. You're more motivated to gain and make progress. Jupiter is considered a planet of good luck and good fortune. So wherever it's placed in your birth chart, like whenever you were born, that's where you're said to feel your luckiest breaks in life, and you stress that area of life a lot, and that's where you expand the most. That's where you grow, and there's a lot of emphasis on that area in your life. To give you guys a good example of what I'm talking about, my Jupiter is in my 8th house, and the 8th house is what rules all things occult, all things considered weird, or things like astrology and things like tarot, which are obviously a very big deal to me, which is why I have a YouTube channel about them. So astrology is real. This is the end of the video. I'm kidding, it's not the end. I still have a lot of talking to do. This video is going to be very basic, and really the purpose of it is going to be more of like an educational thing to talk about how Jupiter affects you depending on what house it's transiting and what its relationship is to that house. It is also definitely worth mentioning that Saturn has also been in Capricorn. Saturn and Jupiter are kind of opposite as planets since Jupiter is considered a planet of good fortune and luck, and Saturn is considered to be a harder planet that's about teaching us lessons and making us stronger through difficulty. So having Jupiter and Saturn transiting the same house will obviously affect you in different ways depending on your personal chart. These videos are so basic and they just kind of are a blanket thing. They may not apply to you since they tend to be generalized, and that's okay. I really just want to make it as more of an educational kind of thing. The times are in the caption, so you don't have to rewind or fast forward or skip around. It's all down there for you. Just make sure that you're watching for your rising sign because we are talking about which house Jupiter is transiting, and that is going to be dependent on what your rising sign is, so what sign rules your first house. If you guys ever have any questions about something I say in my videos, or you'd like a birth chart interpretation or something like that, please feel free to shoot me an email or a DM over on my Instagram, which is where I do a lot of tarot stuff. Don't forget to subscribe and like my videos if you like my content. Check out my other stuff. I'm always trying to put more content out and put more stuff on the channel, so stay in touch. So if you have Aries rising, Jupiter has been transiting your 10th house, the house of career and public image. This makes you more productive and puts your mind on like career advancement and success in business. You may have had your eye on like a promotion or new job opportunities, or you may have already gotten those things since, like I said, Jupiter stays in these houses for a really long time. Authority figures and influential people kind of seem to be in your corner when Jupiter's in the 10th house since it's a lucky planet. The more you're willing to put yourself out there under this transit, the more rewards you'll find because Jupiter's all about expansion. This is a time of fulfilling career goals. If you've been working toward any specific ones, you're gonna check those boxes and see them through. You feel very worthy of recognition and success. You want to be recognized for your achievements and for your hard work, and you are, and that success comes naturally to you. If you have Taurus rising, Jupiter has been transiting your 9th house, the house of higher education, philosophy, and belief systems, also the house of expansion. This is the house where Jupiter is most at home because Jupiter and the 9th house are both all about expansion. So you may have had like some opportunities to travel or expand your horizons under this transit. You're feeling more intellectually curious, you're more open to learning new things and getting into new subjects. Academic matters generally go well during this time. You're very likely to further your education in some way, and if you are doing that, it tends to be successful. Your mind is more expansive and very tolerant. You're not really worried about sweating the small stuff under this transit because the 9th house is all about the big picture, not like tiny little details like that. Priorities are easier to see for you under this transit, and it's just possible that you find like some kind of faith in yourself or in some kind of higher meaning, since higher thinking and belief systems are ruled by the 9th house. If you have Gemini rising, Jupiter has been transiting your 8th house. This is the house of transformation and rebirth, kind of enigmatic things as opposed to like nuts and bolts things like your health or your work life. So when Jupiter's here, you may see benefits in the areas of intimacy, since that's ruled by the 8th house, as well as like shared resources. So anything you might share with like a significant other or an important partner to you. Financial gains can come through some kind of partnership under this transit, and it's a very good time to work on like financial planning and strategy. Funnily enough, taxes are also ruled by the 8th house. I think it's like odd but like quirky, I guess. It is also possible that your focus on one partner may become stronger and you're seeking a deeper, more intimate bond, usually when you have planets transiting the 8th house, because like I said earlier, the 8th house is all about intimacy. Overall, this is a time for you to get to know yourself a little better and have like increased psychological understanding, but also accumulate wealth and make a little money as long as you manage your resources well. If you have Cancer rising, Jupiter has been transiting your 7th house. This is the house of relationships, but also like any kind of one-to-one partnership on any level, like how you relate to other people in general. But since it is first and foremost the house of relationships, when Jupiter is here, you may find yourself focusing more on one partner. You're solidifying the partnership and establishing it. You may be learning more about yourself through them. Relationships that are entered into under this transit are usually very successful and happy. I say usually because if a relationship does end or does not turn out well under this transit, it's said that it is a blessing in disguise, and it's Jupiter working for you behind the scenes so that it's like setting you up for something better. Financial benefits can come from partnership or legal matters, since those things are associated with the 7th house, and Jupiter is a lucky planet. This is also a good time to solve any challenging relationship problems you have or smooth out any feuds, settle the beef. It's a time to make peace. If you have Leo rising, Jupiter has been transiting your 6th house, the house of work and health, your day-to-day matters, and your routine. This means you probably felt benefits in those areas specifically, since Jupiter is a lucky planet. You may be finding joy in self-improvement endeavors right now, in like working on yourself or improving your daily routines, improving your health, eating better, or adopting a new fitness program maybe. When you're under this transit, you have a higher ability to handle details very well, and other people notice that and appreciate it more. They seem to be more aware of your skills. It's also possible that you may get a new job or significantly improve the one that you're at. The 6th house is all about service and doing things for others, so any kind of service that you do under this transit, the more honesty and integrity you bring to it, and you do it with good character, it brings you more good karma. If you have Virgo rising, Jupiter has been transiting your 5th house, the house of creative pleasures and entertainment, so how we like to have fun. This has probably had you feeling very imaginative and original, very creative. Under this transit, a lot of opportunities to express yourself uniquely come forth. You find great joy in doing those things, any kind of creative projects or hobbies that you have going on. That's what you're all about. Love and romance could possibly come into the picture for you, since the 5th house technically rules like your sex life, and since Jupiter is a lucky planet, you never know. If you already have a significant other under this transit, you're building on that bond and solidifying it more, and it's becoming stronger. In general, when Jupiter transits the 5th house, you just feel like you can let your hair down, and it's the house of like getting in touch with your inner child and just letting it kind of run around. If you have a Libra rising, Jupiter has been transiting your 4th house, the house of home and family, your childhood. So Jupiter is bringing benefits to your home and your domestic matters. You're gaining a sense of stability under this transit. You have a higher interest in long-term security. This is also a time where you're more likely to want to like stay at home and kind of build on your nest rather than like branch out and go have adventures. I don't imagine anyone west of Bree would have much interest in adventure. When Jupiter transits the 4th house, you may find yourself making improvements to your home or perhaps moving into a better home or a bigger one. You could also be welcoming a new addition to your family. Doesn't have to be a child, a human baby. It could be a dog or a plant. Overall, this is just a time of getting in touch with your roots and your family traditions, since those are what the 4th house rules. If you have Scorpio rising, Jupiter has been transiting your third house, the house of communication and learning. This means that educational and communication opportunities may have presented themselves to you under this transit. You're finding more joy in learning and socializing when Jupiter's in the third house, because the third house is all about communicating ideas and sharing mental pursuits and things like that. You're expressing your ideas with a lot more enthusiasm under this transit. You want to tell people. You're also finding it easier to grasp subjects that may be harder for other people to grasp, and then because you can grasp it easy, you can also teach it to other people very easily. It's possible that you may receive some sort of positive news or announcement under this transit, since Jupiter is a positive planet, and messages and little short trips and things like that are ruled by the third house. If you have Sagittarius rising, Jupiter has been transiting your second house, the house of material values and possessions. This brings benefits to your earning power and your value system, since that's what the second house is all about. You're likely to be feeling very confident about your abilities under this transit, but it is possible that you may choose to develop your talents more in order to increase your earning power. Income is likely to increase under this transit. It's also possible that you get some kind of opportunity to improve a financial situation. You should expect to receive your fair share when Jupiter transits the second house. When you know that you're worthy of what you are about to receive, it helps you attract even more abundance. If you have Capricorn rising, Jupiter has been transiting your first house, the house of personal appearance and also personal expression, so how you're putting yourself out there into the world. When Jupiter's here, you feel expansive, optimistic, you have more self-confidence since Jupiter's a lucky planet and it's very happy. This is a very good time for self-improvement. You're less concerned with the past and trying to focus more on the future. Feel free to be yourself. You want to leave an impression, since the first house is all about you, so the spotlight is on you. It's very important to just maintain faith in the universe and faith that things will work out underneath this transit. It's generally a good vibe transit, having Jupiter, the planet of luck, in the house that is all about you. If you have Aquarius rising, Jupiter has been transiting your 12th house, the house of your secrets, your subconscious, your dreams, like the ones you have when you sleep. This has you feeling more compassionate, more sensitive, more able to get in touch with your subconscious. You may enjoy work or service for others under this transit. It's a time of spiritual renewal and building your faith, because those things are ruled by the 12th house, like your spirit and spiritual karma, things like that. Your dream world may be rich, since, as I said, the 12th house does rule dreams. You might be dreaming a lot and feel more intuitive. It's also possible that you could pick up metaphysical studies or dream interpretation. For Pisces rising people, Jupiter has been transiting the 11th house. This is the house of friendship and community involvement. Jupiter's going to bring benefits to forming long, broad-term goals and wishes, since those things are also ruled by the 11th house. You may enjoy dreaming up ideas for your future and feel a lot more hopeful under this transit. It's also possible that you could share a common cause or idea with others, since this is the house of community involvement. Your circle of friends can increase under this transit because you're a lot more tolerant of others, and since this is the house of friendship, it's generally easier for you to make friends when Jupiter's here. Reaching out beyond your circle definitely opens doors for you, because Jupiter is a planet of expansion, and so it wants you to expand in this area of friendship and community. I hope you guys like this video. As I said, it's very basic. If anything, it's just about the relationship between Jupiter and the houses. It may not apply to all of you, and if it doesn't, that's fine. There's a lot of other factors in your birth chart and in the planets that are constantly moving and constantly affecting us. So everyone is different. If anything, we learned about the houses and Jupiter, and that's what I definitely want to do with my channel, is just make astrology more accessible and we learn about it together, you know. If you guys ever have any questions, like I said, feel free to shoot me an email. I look forward to hearing from y'all. I can't believe I have 31 subscribers. That's amazing. I remember when I hit 10, I tweeted about it and I was like, I have 10 subscribers, and now I'm I have 30. I'll be back soon with more videos. I'm always planning more and working on more, as well as trying to do more tarot stuff for Instagram. So if you're not on my Instagram, please check it out and consider giving me a follow. It's really fun over there. And I also post all my videos over there as well. Thank you guys for taking the time to check me out, and I will see you soon, hopefully. Love you, bye!